All of a sudden, I was transported to Never Never Land, a deep dark place where everybody was a bug with insect faces, antennae coming out of their heads, and all this dripping and mascutating going on with their mouths. Snakeheads were bobbing around every corner. What did I just tell you? Was it a dream? Was it taken from a fairy tale? Or did someone really experience these? Of course not. All of this happens in dreams or fairy tales. Is that so? Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Onur from the Electrical and Electronics Engineering Department. I guess you want to know what I just told you. I told you about Jack's experience under the influence of the psychedelic substance LSD, which is in the article consulted from Very Well Mind by Elizabeth Hartney. It is horrible for someone to actually live this story, isn't it? Well, would you believe me if I told you that this substance could be beneficial for humans? You should believe it, because I will explain two benefits of this illegal substance, LSD, if we use it consciously. The first benefit is that it may be a solution for people who are in depression, and the second benefit is that it can make people more creative. Before mentioning these benefits, I would like to briefly introduce this substance, LSD. The chemical structure of LSD is very similar to serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that makes humans happy. When LSD enters the blood, it attacks the serotonin receptors in the brain and changes the human's reality within 3 to 12 hours, depending on the amount taken. If it is used consciously, the first benefit of LSD is that it may be a solution for people who are in depression. I'm not talking about let's get high and be happy. I'm talking about the fact that this substance can be beneficial to a person with depression if taken under an expert's control. How can it be helpful? When LSD is taken, it changes the reality and thinking structure of the person deeply. It provides the opportunity to look at events from different perspectives. Therefore, if people use LSD unconsciously, it can cause serious damage to mental health. However, if there is an expert to guide the person, LSD may be a more effective solution than many antidepressants. Now I want to show you a statistic about rising suicide rates. As you know, one of the biggest problems in our decade is the increasing rates of unhappiness. Increasing unhappiness rates also increase the rates of depressed people and people with suicidal tendencies. This region shows the suicide rates before the pandemic process, and this region shows the suicide rates after the pandemic process. According to the statistic published by Pima County Health Department on May 19, 2020, suicide cases increased almost 3 times during the pandemic process. And now I want to show you the results of LSD treatment. According to the article published by Gesser, Kirchner, and Pesci on November 11, 2014, the change in the lives of patients receiving LSD treatment are shown in the graph. Their anxiety levels decreased by 78% and their quality of life increased by 66%. Don't you think these numbers show that the treatment is really successful? The unhappiness rate in the world is increasing day by day, and we have a successful but prohibited treatment method. I mean, the prudent use of LSD can be beneficial for people who are in depression and can increase the happiness rates of people. And the second benefit of the conscious use of LSD is that it can make people more creative. I'm aware that it is almost impossible to make all people conscious about LSD. That is why this substance is illegal to use. From now on, I will talk about a parallel universe where people are conscious about LSD and there is not any risk of using LSD. As I mentioned before, when LSD is taken, it changes the reality and thinking structure of the person deeply. So, how does this substance do that? I want to share this image with you. According to the article published on December 6, 2014, by several writers such as Petrie, Expert, and Societies. This picture illustrates the connection differences between sober brain and tripping brain. As you can see, in a sober brain, certain regions of the brain communicate with each other. On the other hand, you can see that in tripping brain, almost every region of the brain communicates with each other. So what? I want to explain how LSD increases the creativity by giving an example. Suppose that you are an engineer and interested in making music. You have perfect logical and musical intelligence. However, in normal life, you have a weak connection between these two regions of the brain. On the other hand, when you take LSD, there will be more and stronger connections between these two regions of the brain. Therefore, you will be able to look at the event by combining these two perspectives instead of just looking logical or just looking musical. Doing LSD was one of the 2 or 3 most important things I have done in my life. Is a quote from Steve Jobs to New York Times reporter John Markov. I think the biggest reason Steve Jobs said something like this is LSD's contribution to his creativity. To sum up, today I talked about 2 benefits of this illegal substance, LSD, if we use it consciously. The first benefit is that it may be a solution for people who are in depression, and the second benefit is that it can make people more creative. As I said, if we use it consciously. It is harder to crack prejudice than an atom, Albert Einstein. I know we have a serious prejudice against drugs as a society. However, when I look at the research, I think that the conscious use of this drug can really be beneficial to society. But first, we have to get rid of our prejudice. Thank you for your attention. This is my reference list, and I would like to answer if you have any questions.